They don't, take your time.
Okay, Netivot Shalom על התורה, ספר בראשית, Noach. We'll do another part this week, and let's dedicate it to all the people that got wounded, hurt, physically, mentally, in the Machshmam, the Hamas attack, and also for the success of Chayalet Tzahal, all the soldier, IDF, Kochot HaBitachon, everyone, and for the success of the nation of Israel, that we should keep Achdut without the problem that Hashem is throwing on us. Okay, so Onesh HaMabul Bechinat Hashlacha. So the punishment of the Mabul, it's like in the context, or Hashlacha, like being throwing away, kick out. So in the second month, בחודש השני, ב-17 יום לחודש, ביום הזה, right? So on the second month, which is Sivan, 17 days, the depths open, and the sky open, and there was rain on the land for 40 days and 40 nights. And the water were like covering everything, 150 days. And he says, in these verses in the Psukim, that describing the Mabul, the flood, doesn't mention at all that Hashem did it. Not like in Sdom and Amorah, when it says, Hashem imtira Sdom v'al Amorah gofrit, that Hashem was pouring on Sodom and Amorah, sulfur and fire, right? And Hashem like was destroying the Arei HaKikar, the cities. And the verses here, it's look like it's all happened by itself. That suddenly the depth opened and the sky started to pour rain. So why Hashem's name is not mentioned? It doesn't say, and Hashem was opening the heaven, and Hashem was taking the water from the depth. Yesh lever, we need to explain that there are type of punishments, some different type of punishment, but the worst one, the severe one, is ashlacha, throwing away. If the teacher is giving you something like write 100 times, I will not throw a mouse on the teacher, or to do something, like standing in the corner. Fine, you're still in the class, you're still listening, etc. But if the teacher kicking you out, oops, something here is wrong. Because he said ashlacha, throwing away, is like the hashgacha ha'elyona, the divine hashgacha, is been taken from the person. Like we found in David HaMelech, right? When he asked Hashem, Al tashlicheni milfanecha, don't throw me away in front of you. He didn't ask that Hashem will not punish him, because he was ready for all the punishment and all the suffering and the pain, etc., the bitterness of the punishment. As we found in Chazal, that he was really, really suffering right through most of his life. But one thing he asked Hashem, don't throw me away, because that he could not bear. That's the worst punishment. It's the mashal, the analogy to a father that is punishing his son. He's beating him up, he's smacking him, right? We're talking about the old days when it was still legal. Today, of course, nobody do that. But the worst thing was the father opening the door, kicking the son out, and said, I don't want to see your face anymore. Good luck with your life. Leave me alone. That was the flood, like throwing away, which means Hashem took his divine protection from the entire creation. Why? Because the entire creation were corrupted, right? As it says, "V'timale haaretz chamas." It's so unbelievable how this time, this week, it's the Parsha speaking a lot about Hamas. היה זכרון אף גדול ונורא. There was a great anger from Hashem, and therefore they were punished so severely with ashlacha. As it said, Hashem took his ashgacha, and then suddenly earth collapsed. So the depth, when you're thinking about it, you have so much water inside the ground that suddenly they came out. I don't know if you ever been to Holland, but Holland, there are places that they have dams, and if something will happen, and right, we say every morning in the bracha, roka haaretz al hamayim, right? Baruch Hashem roka. What is roka? Roka, it's like Hashem is like pressing the ground on earth, But actually, Roka Haaretz al Hamayim, it's like Hashem is keeping the ground that the water will not flood everything. So here it's like Hashem didn't do it anymore. He didn't Roka Haaretz al Hamayim. So the depth came, the water came, the ocean, etc. And then the rain. It's like the rain couldn't hold himself. Just think about it. Millions of tons of water floating in the sky. If not billions of tons of water floating in the sky. So they just fell. They couldn't stand over there because Hashem took it from them, the ability, right? And it looked like the entire creation was looking like Hashem was taking in Hashgacha. And therefore, it doesn't mention that Hashem did it because he doesn't need to do it. He just removing his Hashgacha and everything collapsed. Because he filled the entire creation. And it says in the Midrash on the Pasuk, "Im bechukotai telechu v'natati gishmechem beitam," if you will walk in the path of my rules and laws, I'll give rain on its time, right? So it said the entire creation is based on law and order, physics, chemistry, nature, everything. There are laws for the heaven, law for the land, right? The one that we know, gravity, etc. And they are actually making sure that everything will be stand in its place. There are rule and laws for the sun and the moon, right? The moon, because of its mass, it doesn't fall on Earth because the sun is bigger than Earth and it's trying to pull it, but Earth still has some mass, so it's pulling the moon, so it got stuck between us in a perfect balance of distance. So because the moon have its own mass, it could not go to the sun. What is going to do with the mass? He pull out the water of Earth. That's why you have tide, depend on the moon. So everything have a law for that. And the sea, the ocean is standing, right, or is like breaking with the wave on the shore, but it doesn't flood the land. And we know what's happening when we have like a small earthquake in the middle of the ocean and a tsunami come and washing everything. It's not only waves, it's because the sea level is basically higher. And also law for the depth. But it says, if you walk in my path, in my laws, you keep my law, I will keep the laws also. You get rain on its time, etc., etc. The whole world will work according to the laws that I put up. But if you don't keep my laws, then okay. So you don't want to keep the laws. I cannot keep the other laws as well. And that was the Mabul, the flood. Because after the entire creation was corrupted, right? Rashi explained that even animals were doing it with other animals that were not from the same species. And man was marrying a man and writing ketubah. It was a whole corrupted society. Then everything, all the foundation, the laws of physics, chemistry, etc., they're all been shaking. It's a chain reaction. Chain reaction. And he says, like Hamas, right? So what happened over there, Hamas mean that they were stealing, but not stealing properties of others, stealing the wife of somebody else. That's called Hamas, very corrupted thing, very ugly, which is a normal person know that it's wrong. But also there were nitareru, they were collapsed. And therefore the land was filled with Hamas. And therefore it's like nullifying the laws of earth and heaven. And then that's why the depth opened and the rain came down. So if we're going back to Sdom, it says Hashem himtir al Sdom. Hashem was pouring on Amorah fire and sulfat, etc. Even though there was a shchata, there was a corruption, but that was a local corruption, only for that area. They didn't affect the laws, the natures of the law of the entire creation. And therefore, yeah, Hashem was upset, Hashem was angry, but as a collective, they were not punished with the throwing away. But Hashem took care of it locally. And also Hashem was destroying the cities of the Kikar. He said also over there, the Midat Adin, and there, right? Hen Hashem in the Midat Adin, vehen Sham Rachamim. Well, also, it's like it's like the name of the din, and then he had the name of the mercy, but there was no throwing away in front of Hashem. But he said they have a question when it says Ve'Hashem, which is Yud Kei Vav Kei, he poured the rain, right, of the fire on Sodom. So the name Hashem, which is Yud Kei Vav Kei, is the midah of Rachamim, of mercy. So how is it possible that the midah of mercy was pouring the rain of fire? So they explain, yes, Hashem was pouring a physical rain, a blessing rain, because nothing bad come down from heaven, from Hashem. So in the source was Gishme Bracha, rain of blessing. But when they poured above Sodom and Amorah, they turn into fire and sulfur. And also, because they had such kind of cruelty and they were murdering people over there as well, they didn't have any merit to exist anymore. And therefore, any punishment, even the severe one, it's a chesed from Shamayim to kill them. Again, you have murderer, terrorists, people that just want to hurt others. Killing them is a merciful thing to do to the other normative people. It's not chesed for them, for this bastard. It's chesed for the other people. בזמן דאית ניצז עם מסכת ערכים, שסימן רע לו ליהודי שעוברים עליו 40 יום בלא איסורים ועוגמת נפש. It says in Arachim, it's a bad sign for a Jew if he have 40 days without suffering. Because it's also mean, chas v'chalila, that Hashem throw him out from him. And he needs to check himself, what happened, what he did, why Hashem took his protection from him, the Ashgacha. Because everything goes smoothly. Usually if you're trying to do something good, and you have so many things that preventing you from doing it, you know you're on the right path. If you try to do something and everything goes smooth, you know something here is fishy, something here is wrong. It could be too good to be true. It's a true expression. So he said in Tehillim, Shivtecha u'mishantecha menachamuni, right? Your cane, your support, and your whip will comfort me. On the same, it's analogy. The flock, that when the shepherd is using his staff, his makel, his stick, even though I understand that, okay, fine, the shepherd was beating me, it really hurt, but he's doing it for my own good, so I will not go off the path of the derech. He's keeping me on the track. But if we don't feel anything, and we don't see that Hashem is doing something to us, whether if it is good or bad, that's the worst punishment. This is the shlacha. As it says in Sefer Dvarim, Hashem Elokecha imach lo chasarta davar. Hashem is with you, you are not lacking anything. As it says in the Torah Tavot, that when a Jew feels that Hashem is with him, then he doesn't lack anything. Right? And according to that, we should say, Hashem Elokecha imach. Hashem is with you. But in any way that Hashem behave with us, with the Jew, whether if it is Havaya, Yudke Vavke, which is mercy, where it is Elokecha, Elokim, which is the din, is still with us. That we feel that Hashem with us. And then Shiftecha Mishantecha Lachamuni, your stick, your whip, and your cane, right, will support, will comfort me. Then we are not lacking anything. And that's the greatest happiness that we can have, that we're feeling that we're under the wings of the Shechina, the wing of Hashem. And if chas v'chalila it's been taken from us, this is a shlacha, throwing away, and this is the severe punishment. Because as long as Hashem punishing us or rewarding us or giving us something, we know that we are with Him. Why is doing that? Okay, fine, we're not sure why. But if nothing happened and it's just removing His ashgacha from us, that's the bad thing. So when I think we can see that even though we had like a Holocaust during Shmini Atzeret, there were so many stories of miracle. I don't know, and I heard many shurim of big rabbanim that, you know, they didn't try to explain. They said, we don't have explanation, but we do see that it's a hand of Hashem. In one hand, kibbutzim were almost grown, and they killed so many people. In the other end, they couldn't even open a gate, which you can, you know, they had RPG, they have explosive, they could open the gates. But no, they were standing in front of the gate and like, okay, what do we do now? Okay, let's move to the other place. Ridiculous. Who cannot open a gate when you have explosives? You see, it's ashgacha. And people that were, I heard a story like there was a couple in the party, and a man and a girl, and she was freaking out, of course, and she said, "Okay, you know what? Let's do tshuva. Let's accept upon ourselves that we'll keep Shabbat." And he said, "Oh, stop with this nonsense!" Bullet in the head, and she survived. So many crazy stories. So with that Hashem, you know, I hope that from now on we'll see only good thing and only miracles, good miracle for us. And I think that this is actually the fight with Amalek, because they are willing to die as long as they hurt us. And this is exactly the character of Amalek. So Hashem, Zat Hashem, you know, there is a mitzvah for us to kill Amalek. We're not sure. And it says, Milchama LaHashem ba'Amalek. So I wish that really Hashem is going to fight for us, and the IDF can eat all the candies and everything that we were sending to them. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for listening.